Good morning. It's so good to see all of you. See everybody here in person. For the folks who are joining us online, welcome. It's so good to be together in all the ways that we can. And I'll tell you, I've been up here just enjoying watching people making their way into the sanctuary, and I've also always loved watching the participants list tick up on the Zoom. So it's a way of being able to notice each other coming in and to see one another and welcome each other to this space. It's so good to be here. My name's Jen Crow. I'm one of your ministers here at First Universalist Church, and it is a joy to be leading worship today with Aimee and Franco and Nora and Julica and with all of you, because we do this together. For the last more than 150 years, First Universalist Church has been a community that proclaims the power of love and hope. We create community here together where we invite each other into the rhythm and practice of spiritual growth, of giving and receiving and growing together. That's the life we are about here, and we do this together in some very specific ways. We listen deeply to where love is calling us next. We welcome, affirm, and protect the light in each and every human heart. And we act with courage and humility and compassion in service to justice. We do all of this as a community that is deeply committed to ending oppression in all of its forms and building a beloved community of love and joy and liberation for us all. And we take good care of each other here in person in the building and out in the world. If you're joining us here in person, we encourage everybody who can be to be vaccinated, to stay home if you're feeling sick or waiting on a COVID test result. We ask folks to wear their masks in the building all the time unless you're speaking from the pulpit. And we invite folks to check in with each other before you move in for that handshake or hug. Just ask for consent from each other. And just a reminder too, we are singing as part of the service here in the sanctuary with our masks on. But if you'd prefer to be in a place where there isn't group singing going on, feel free to head down to the Cummins room where there's always a live stream and an opportunity to worship together in that space. I want to extend a special welcome to our Meadville Lombard students. The Meadville Lombard is a Unitarian Universalist seminary based out of Chicago, but with students all over the world. Students are with us this week in many ways for their faith formation and multicultural context class. And special welcome to all of you who are joining us online. So if you're here in the sanctuary, can you give them a wave? We're welcoming people, right? It's good to see you all. Glad you're here. There are lots of ways to be connected here at First Universalist, and I want to name a couple of them for folks hoping to join in. First of all, sign up for our newsletter. If you haven't already, you can do that through our website. If you're with us in person, join us for coffee hour downstairs after the service. We have a grief group that happens online today at 4 o'clock, led by the Reverend Karen Hutt. If you are grieving, please know this can be grief in many different varieties. Many of us are experiencing that in our lives right now. Join in online. You can check the website for the link, and Reverend Karen Hutt will be there with you today. Also, joyful things happening as well in community. On April 24th in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, we'll be having another concert with our very own Ellis Delaney performing for us and with us. 3 o'clock, April 24th, both online and in person. You can buy tickets now. It's bound to be a really, really fun time together. Also, you may have noticed the posters that are up around the church in different places. This is about the street art project around defunding climate chaos. So today after this service, Todd Pearson is going to lead an online Zoom room opportunity for folks to learn more about Stop the Money Pipeline street art poster project that is displayed down in our atrium. There'll be a slideshow of the posters and statements about the artists who created them, and you'll have an opportunity to learn and mobilize and take action together as well to support the climate. So if you're joining us online, you're probably noticing there's a link to join that room after the service. That would be wonderful. And this morning, I want to wish a very special Palm Sunday to our Christian and UU Christian siblings here in the congregation and also around the world. We hope that this day and recognizing this day might be a way of holding joy and grief together, hand in hand. So we prepare ourselves now for this time of connection and care. And we start by settling in, settling our nervous system, settling our bodies so that our hearts and spirits and minds might be open. So you can do this any way you choose, but for me, I'm already planting my feet firmly on the floor. I'm noticing all the places my body touches the ground, the pulpit. For you, it might be the pew or wherever you are sitting or standing or walking or laying down. Taking a moment to let your body be here, maybe to feel a little heavier, to feel the weight of your presence. Maybe it's a time to open your chest a bit to let the air flow more freely. Maybe softening your gaze or closing your eyes. And then we breathe together on purpose. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Once more at your own pace, breathing in, breathing out. And from this settled place, we remember that we are on land that is not our own, that people and land and beings are not possessions to be owned, that the earth and its people, past, present, and future, carry stories and hold histories that are complex, full of joy and pain, and we commit ourselves to learning and holding it all. There's a reading that perhaps you heard last week if you were here, and if not, you'll hear it for the first time today. It's called The Butterfly Effect by the Reverend Teresa Soto. And I hear Dr. Glenn Thomas right out in my mind, who tells us all the time, repetition is not a vice. Repetition is not a vice. It's one of the ways we hear and settle in. I wish the knowledge were easier to come by, that individualism is just a scam, that you are always the butterfly wings. You are always a flap of the storm. Edward Lorenz, a weather scientist from MIT, is sometimes misquoted on this as the premise that the butterfly wing can cause a hurricane. Can cause a hurricane in a different part of the world. Shorthand that isn't all that close to a representation of the math-turned-weather scientist's work. He proposed that should we make even a tiny alteration to nature, we will never know what would have happened if we had not disturbed it, since subsequent changes are too complex and entangled to restore a previous state. Which is to say that you have an immeasurable effect on the system. It will change you, and you will shape its DNA. You must not believe the lying lie that you do not matter, that whatever change you can organize is so insufficient as to not be worth your time, your energy, your life force. You must be willing to dream a dream that carries forward your community. This is how we rise. This day is polluted with a mistrust of truth, fertile and warm medium for unchecked cruelty and power. You must choose to scream the truth until every leaf and stone bears unrepentant witness to what happens when you try to cage and smash, to pin and frame a butterfly and their thousands and thousands of fabulous, flamboyant friends. We are those fabulous, flamboyant friends. Let us be in community together, and let us light our chalice together. Please join me, if you will, and sing the words for the lighting of our chalice. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please stand and join me in singing our opening hymn, which is 118 in the teal hymnal, and the words will be on the wall, so you don't even need that if you got good distance vision. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Freedom in that land, there'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. Good morning.
Tell ya, we're starting to sound good again. We're relearning how to do this together. So one of the things I love about this congregation is that we welcome a variety of voices of people into this pulpit to share their experience and their spiritual growth with us. So this morning, we are going to hear from our beloved member, Nancy Jones, and you'll see her coming up on the screens.
Hi, I'm Nancy Jones. After more than 25 years at the First Unitarian Society, I had exhausted the patience of my friends as I talked about not having come to any sort of coherent religious philosophy. Developing that set of beliefs and practices, I told them, was my life's last major piece of unfinished business. Finally, at age 70, I made a New Year's resolution. I would find a new church. And so I came to First Universalist and began almost uninterrupted participation in small groups, including the hugely rewarding Wellspring program for the next dozen years. From the small groups came important friendships. From folks I met in the pews on Sunday morning or in the elevator, I gained a sense of belonging to a larger church community. First Universalist has enriched my life immeasurably, and I'm most grateful. There are so many ways in which I am unable to give back, thanks to various infirmities of old age, but what I can do is to provide generous financial support. I want to do everything I can to ensure that the church has the financial resources it needs to staff and support everything from religious education, to music program, to faithful action partnerships, to racial justice efforts in the community. My financial support for the church is not only for today, but also for times we shall never see. I am excited as I imagine all that First Universalist can become and is becoming as a beacon of hope, love, and justice in the city of Minneapolis and beyond. The notion of a river of life extending through the generations has always had great meaning for me. I like to think that in contributing generously to First Universalist, I am a part of that ever-flowing river. Thank you.
Grateful to Nancy for being willing to share part of her story here and the ways she is connected. We are a congregation that is by and for the people. We fund ourselves, we govern ourselves, we create change in the ways that we dream of. So you all are invited always to be a part of this community in all the ways that feel right, to give generously if you're able to our annual giving fund to help support the work of the church throughout the year, and also to participate and contribute in all the ways that you can. We are grateful for each and every one of you. So, I believe there's a story coming. Is that true?
Yes.
Is something happening next?
Excuse me.
Oh, sure.
Yes, we are going to continue, as I'm sure you've guessed, our story about the Acorn community. And this story we are going to create with our young acorns. So if you would like to be a part of the story, make a contribution, young acorns, come on up to the chancel and put on your costume. If you are in the balcony and want to participate, we will wait for you. Come on down.
Purple, you got it. Sit up here. Okay. I got pink. You want pink? You got brown? Okay.
Once you've put on your costume, please have a seat on the chancel.
We have more.
Yep, last call for acorns. Thank you.
Yay.
Come on, yeah.
Woohoo. Okay.
Perfect. And if during the story you decide, oh, this is cool and I want to be a part of it, it's never too late to join in.
It's never too late.
Yes. So, when last we saw our acorn community, the young acorns had learned that they will have to crack open in order to sprout. And they had decided that they want to know the truth about how these things happen. Well, in the acorn community, not all of the caregivers and adults were happy about telling the truth about the life cycle of an acorn. There were many caregivers and other adult acorns who decided that not only did they not want their little acorns to learn about the life cycle, they didn't want anybody else's little acorns to learn about the life cycle either.
Mm-hmm.
They did not want critical acorn theory. They didn't want it taught in the schools. So they made up the term critical acorn theory, which is an actual thing about something that isn't taught in schools. But they used that to really embolden the rest of the acorns to say, no, 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 we cannot teach about acorns sprouting. And the young acorns decided that it's important for them to learn the truth about the way things are because it helps them to be good citizens. And it helps them to prepare for the future. And it helps to make the world more inclusive and a better place. And so they said, even though those older acorns are changing the laws or trying to change the laws in order to keep us from learning this information, we have to do something about it. We have to organize. So this is where our young acorns come in. What do you think? What are some of the ways that they could organize to change the way things are?
Create a political party called the Young Acorns Party.
The Young Acorns Party.
Genius! They could create a political party. Now, if there was one acorn in this new political party, the Young Acorns political party, do you think they would be successful?
No.
Probably not. And so how do you think they organize in order to get more people to become a part of their political party? What are some things that they could do? Any idea? Yeah?
Protest what happens to us.
Sure. They can protest what's happening in the legislature. So,
I want to be a tree.
yes, they would tell people, I want to be a tree. So if they were to protest, what would that look like?
Switch to ranked choice acorn voting.
They could switch to ranked choice acorn voting?
Have campaigns to try to convince people.
Yeah, they could start a campaign. Exactly. All of these things they could do to get other people to join their political party.
I think adult acorns should be trees.
You think we should include the adult acorns? I think so too, because they're the ones who vote.
Yeah.
Right, so we've heard create a political party, we've heard about protesting, we've heard about campaign slogans, and we've heard about canvassing the adult acorn community in order to get people to join the movement to have acorn sprouting continue to be taught in schools. So let's see what some of these ideas look like, right? If you were protesting, what would that look like?
I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree.
Oh,
I want to become a tree.
So we have a
There's
chant,
the chant.
and it
Okay.
looks like we have a sign, we have signs.
Do you want to lead the chant? Pull the microphone.
Yeah, so
Okay.
let's have a march, a protest. Our chant is, I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree.
Go.
And
I
we
wanna
have
become a
signs.
tree.
Yes, let's march.
You want to become a tree.
Yes.
I want
I
to
wanna
become
become
a
a
tree.
tree.
Join our protest. I
I
want to
wanna
become
become
a
a
tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become this way. I want to become a tree. 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 Excellent. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. Acorns have trees.
I want to become a tree.
I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree. I want to become a tree.
Good job. Good job, Graham.
Thank you for leading our protest. So what was it like to participate in a protest? What did that feel like?
Coolness.
Coolness.
It made me feel powerful.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
very fun.
Say that again.
It was very fun.
It was fun.
What else?
Any other ideas? Yeah, it's empowering to participate. And it's fun to participate. Thank you. So the other thing that we said was that you all could canvass some of the adult acorns to get them to join your political party or to convince them to vote the way that you wanted them to vote. What does that look like? Yeah? Bribes?
What was it?
Bribes.
Bribes.
Bribes. You could throw money at the problem, that's true. If you wanted to organize people to talk to a lot of people about the way you want things to change, what has to happen? Any adult acorns have an idea?
Do you have an idea, Dad?
Knocking on doors.
Knocking on doors.
Talking to people face to face. So let's see, acorns, let's see you talk to some of these adult acorns in the community, at least one, maybe 2 or 3, and see what that's like. Go tell them your argument about why critical acorn theory should continue to be taught in acorn school.
Yes. Let's find a grown-up or 2 or 3.
Yes.
And tell them, I want to grow. I want to
And
be
if
a
that
tree.
seems scary, find a friend to go
Find a
with.
friend. Do it with a friend.
Are you bribing people? Oh, I heard a little acorn say they spoke to 5 people. How courageous.
Yes.
How transformative. And then I'm sure that there were some bribes offered by one little acorn. So these are just a couple of ways that not only acorns, but that we all can get involved to make our faith and our mission to be of service and to transform things and to make change into an action so that we're not just talking about it, we're actually living it. Thank you so much, little acorns, for helping me tell the story. Please take off your acorn costume and leave it on the chancel. And Julica's going to tell you what happens next.
Yes, and I am going to bless you all. As you know, leave your heads on the chancel. We might have more acorn stories in our future. We don't know. But we are now getting ready to go to religious education for those of us who are younger. Regardless of whether we go out into other parts of the building or we stay here, we are all in the process of learning. And while the children leave, because they're already going, you all can greet each other and say hello.
With this buzz of connection, with the energy of being together, of supporting our young acorn activists, we arrive here in this place where we feel the energy of our connection, here in the sanctuary spread out across the country and the world, the thread of connection, the energy of life and possibility, of dreaming, of connection. We settle in with all the sounds of life here, grateful for new voices, for the life that moves through us all. From here, we allow our breath to settle, perhaps to slow down if that is right for us, to be quieter for a moment. From this place of breath, of awareness of our bodies and our interconnection, we remember that the inhale we feel is the exhale of the trees, that we share breath in common, animal, human, plant, earth, ancient ancestors, known and unknown to us, nourishing us, the breath of the future, beckoning us. We remember, each of us, wanted and worthy, whole and healing, beautiful and unique. Each of us an important part of this world. We remember the words of the poet. You are always the butterfly wings. You are always the flap in the storm. Let go of the lying lies that tell you you do not matter. Let go of the scam of individualism, of separation, of impossibility. Turn the tables in your mind and heart. Flip the story. Remember, each of us, each and every one of us, born one more Redeemer on this earth. Remember the creative, creating, life-affirming, life-saving, life-affirming force that exists in each of us, fragile as a butterfly wing and as powerful, too. We are the butterfly wings, fragile and powerful, allowing ourselves to dream a dream that can carry forward our community. A dream of a new way, a new world that is possible. From this place of connection, of possibility and care, we send our love to all those whose lives are turning in ways they hoped for and in ways they would never hoped for. We send our love to those who are in the path of violence, to those who know the weight of grief, to those who are struggling with moral questions of who to follow and when, of when and how to lead, to those who know the pain of war and destruction, to those who are feeling the suffering of their neighbors, their siblings, this earth, as they allow their hearts to open to the reality of interconnection. To all of us who live in the constant turning of the cycle of our lives. We take time together to name the hurts and the hopes, the people and the places that are in our hearts this morning, sharing in the chat or out loud here in the sanctuary, or simply holding these in the silence of our hearts. We lift up our hopes, our hurts, those we hold in our care. Together we remember our deep connection, and we pray that the grip of addiction might be loosened, that the weight of oppression might be lightened, that truth might be told, that joy might break through, and that love might make every suffering bearable for us all. May it be so. Amen. And let us join in our sung response, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
In that spirit that repetition is not a vice. You have an immeasurable effect on the system. It will change and you will shape its DNA. You must not believe the lying lie that you do not matter, that whatever change you can organize is so insufficient as to not be worth your time, your energy, your life force. You must be willing to dream a dream that carries forward your community. This is how we rise. Can I get an amen? Amen. Because, oh my gosh, do I need this message of hope and possibility right now? Because, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Thank you. No, I mean, I could keep going. Like, it has been a moment. And there's so much that still needs doing. And there are moments where we ask ourselves, are things actually changing? Like, is this actually happening? What's going on? We hear sometimes the news and we're like, no, you're kidding. You're kidding me. What? They what? So absolutely, we need to find strength and find community and find connection, that we can challenge the lying lie that our life force does not matter and is not worth using. So today I want to lean on that beautiful poem, my beloved colleague and friend Teresa Soto, and also Adrienne Marie Brown. We Will Not Cancel Us. This little book is pretty amazing, and I'm gonna be sharing a good chunk of it with you and then being in dialogue with her, with you, with us. That's the plan for today. The question that I'm asking is, what do we need in order to be able to mobilize and organize more effectively? What do we need in order to be able to mobilize and organize more effectively? How do we challenge this lying lie that we do not matter? I want to share with you that this message has been brewing for me over a few weeks now. It really started when I went to City Hall a little over a month ago in response to the murder of Amir Locke. And when I was there that day, I had so many different feelings. I felt relief that there was something that I could do. There was something where I could move my body and actually do something with all of the adrenaline that comes up for me every time another young black man gets killed by the police. Like, really? So it felt good to be doing something. And it felt joyful to see some of you there. And it felt infuriating that we had to do this again. And tired, and the whole range of emotions. And I want to share with you another feeling that I had that day that is really bringing me here to you today, and that was a feeling of deep longing. I wanted to have all of you there with me. I wanted to look and see a sea of yellow shirts. Now, if you don't want to wear the yellow shirt, that's cool. We'll give you a button. If you don't want to wear the button, you don't have to wear the button. But this idea of an enormous amount of Unitarian Universalists in these actions. I mean, there are so many large congregations in this metropolitan area. There is no reason we cannot mobilize 400 to 500 people like that. We just need to get it together. We just need to make it happen. We need to create some systems. That's happening. We are actually making that happen. And I want to share with you that I think it's also our edge. This congregation's edge in particular. This is where love is calling us next. This opportunity to mobilize and to say yes. And so I want to share with you why I think that this is our work and why it's the right time for us. And I want to do it, like I said, in dialogue with Adrienne Marie Brown. And I do want to mention that Arif also referenced this a couple of weeks ago. So if you tilt your head and you're like, that sounds familiar, good. You were paying attention. That's good. Good job. All right. Adrienne Marie Brown says, I have a vision that movements for social and environmental justice, particularly the Black and brown formations within these larger movements, become living models of abolition. I can see it. In the short term, we generate small pockets of movement so irresistibly accountable. Small pockets of movement so irresistibly accountable that people who don't even know what a movement is come running towards us, expecting that they will be welcomed, flawed and whole, by a community committed to growth, knowing that there is a place in this violent, punitive world that is already committed to and practicing a healing and transformative iteration of justice. As Maurice Mo Mitchell said, we have to have a low bar for entry and a high standard for conduct. A low bar for entry and a high standard for conduct. Thank you, amen. If that is not a UU congregation, I don't know what is. She's talking about us. That's us. That's the Universalist, everybody in. Come on, we love you. Yes, just like that. Yes, like that too. Yes, 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 we love you. Come in, come in. And, oh hi, covenant. Here's how we're going to be with each other. This is our high standard of conduct. Because we need these covenants and these agreements to help us be well together and to grow together, right? That's it. That's what she's talking about. Organizing doesn't have to be about fighting an enemy, about punitive and combative engagement. This idea of organizing as abolition work is really pushing me. It's really like pushing the edge of my understanding of organizing, and I really appreciate it because Adrienne Marie Brown is reminding us that this work is fractal. How we do one thing is how we do everything. How we do small group ministry is how we do organizing, is how we do fundraising, is how we do worship. It's all of the things, they're all fractal. They all relate to each other. And I love the idea that how we behave in movement space can be in and of itself a liberatory practice. I love that. She says, in my midterm vision, movements prioritize building the capacity, skill, and wide hearts to receive new comrades, while practicing daily and deeply what it means to sustain our relationships and collective visions, uphold our values, and adapt towards purpose. We find ways to bond that aren't limited to pettiness, gossip, cliquishness, which can be so fun and then so destructive. We get skilled at critique that deepens us, conflict that generates new futures, and healing that changes material conditions. Again, that's us. How we focus and how we are being with each other when we are focusing on our covenant and our organizing is faith formation, is about our spiritual growth. It's about finding the places like, where am I now? Where do I need to be? What's in the way? How do I get there? It's a process of learning. Now, so far, I've been intending to speak to everyone. But I also want to say something in particular for those of us who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color in particular. I want to say that we also have the task of healing our generational trauma. We have some healing to do. And one of the most challenging things in my healing journey has been to remember to focus on my liberation and my joy. And when I focus on liberation and joy and use that as a compass, it changes how I behave in spaces. And so my invitation to those of us who are people of color is that if organizing gives us joy and energy, then yeah, organize, let's do it, because it feels good, because it feels like having agency that we haven't had, because it feels like the relief that I was talking about before. But in this new vision, in this new way of doing this movement, I want to imagine and I want to hold this possibility where if organizing doesn't speak to you as a person of color, you don't have to do it. Because your white allies are doing it for you. And because we can take shifts, because there are so many of us that we know that we are represented, that we are still going to be there, and it's okay. That's very important for me. And I think that when we are focusing on that healing, when we are focusing on joy and liberation and transformation, that's really attractive. People want to join us. And we grow as a result of it. And then more people join us. And then the movement gets larger and larger. And then people in power are like, whoa, that's a lot of people. I don't think we can continue doing things the way that we've been doing them because business cannot continue as usual. More. I have a vision of movement as sanctuary. Not a tiny perfectionist utopia behind miles of barbed wire and walls and fences and tests and judgments and righteousness, but a vast sanctuary where our experiences as humans who have experienced and caused harm are met with centered, grounded invitations to grow. In this sanctuary, we feel our victory, where winning means a mass and intimate healing, where winning isn't measured by anyone else's loss, but by breaking cycles of abuse, harm, assault, and systemic oppression, where winning is measured not just by the absence of patterns of harm, distrust, and isolation, but by the presence of healing and healthy interdependence. Healthy interdependence. Yes, yes. Because as we all heal from white supremacy culture, that is what we are healing from, the lying lie of individualism, of perfectionism, of it's only me that can do it and I better get it right. You've heard me talk about the ethic of control before, this way of defining goodness as the ability to control the outcome of your actions. If you can't control the outcome of your actions, then you're not good. Well then, how can we possibly take risks? How can we possibly experiment when we have to get it right? We can't. So in this new way of organizing and mobilizing that is healing, we are also letting go of the need to control. We are learning to follow. And especially those of us with privilege, and I definitely count myself in that group with like 3 graduate degrees, like I can analyze anything like that. And I have read all the books, and I try to read all the new books that come out. And I try to manage things. I'm really good, well, I'm kind of good at managing things, but I'm really good at being bossy. And I love being in control. And that's not my task. When I'm organizing in community, my job is to follow. My job is like in improv, yes and. just to say yes. I want to share with you a story that I think illustrates this lesson that I think we all are learning in the following and in the humility. My colleague and friend, the Reverend Bryant Ferguson, was serving a congregation in Texas. And when he first got there, he wanted to connect to other congregations, other churches, and do some interfaith work. So he joined a group of pastors who were focusing on a Martin Luther King event. And the majority of those folks were African American. And they, had been doing this for many years. And so Brian was the newcomer. Brian is a very tall, white Scottish man with a charming Scottish accent. He's actually from Scotland. And so he went to this group of people and he said, we'd love to help. And one of the pastors said, that's great. Could your congregation please bake some sheet cake and bring it to the event? And Brian said, sheet cake, absolutely, happy to bring some sheet cake. And he goes back to the congregation and he says, they want sheet cake. And our beloved UUs, they form a committee. And in this committee, they start talking about muffins, and they start talking about brownies, and they start talking about pies. And Brian says, sheet cake. They asked for sheet cake. But non-gluten, blah, blah, blah. Sheet cake. Fine, sheet cake. So they make the sheet cake, they take the sheet cake. And then one of the organizers that morning says, you're the pastor of the UUs that you brought the sheet cake. And he said, yeah, that's right. Thank you for allowing us to participate. And the pastor says, thank you for doing this, for bringing this sheet cake, and could you please give the benediction? Yeah. Because, can I trust you? Can you actually do what I'm asking you to do? You can? Oh, good. Then let me give you some more to do. Right? Let me give you a platform. But this relaxing into it, the yes and. Now, when I was preparing this message, Arif said to me, power is organized money and organized people. This congregation has got the organized money thing down. You are super generous. I see you and appreciate you. The way that we share the plate, the way that we are in relationship with community partners, yes. I think it's time to take our people organizing, our life force organizing to the next level. Does that mean that we haven't done any organizing? No. I see you right here in the room. You have been organizing for a long time. But it's been little pockets of organizing, hasn't it? And it's been like personal relationships. I think it's time to take it to the next level. And that's what we're doing. There's a team of people. And very soon, in the Liberal, you will see an opportunity to join us and sign up. We're going to have vests. Instead of shirts, they're going to be vests, so that you can put them on top of whatever you're wearing. Yes, I kind of do want us to wear the yellow vests. It's okay if we don't. It's not okay. It's okay. Yes, I did say that I was going to stop controlling, didn't I? You will hear more about this coming soon. You will have the opportunity to gather together, to pray, to prepare, to do an action, and then to come back and talk about it. Talk about how that felt and what you need to do next. I think this is powerful spiritual growth that we are called to do. I think it's really exciting, and I think it's our edge. It's the next level. And I also think Minneapolis is a really good place to do that, because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of change happening, and I think we can be instrumental in that change the same way that we were for marriage equality. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to wrap it up with the words of the poet. This is how we rise. This day is polluted with the mistrust of truth, fertile and warm medium for unchecked cruelty and power. You must choose to scream the truth until every leaf and stone bears unrepentant witness. to what happens when you try to cage and smash, to pin and frame a butterfly and their thousands and thousands of fabulous, flamboyant friends. That's us. May it be so, and amen. Rise. Sing with me. Let's sing Building a New Way, 1017 in the teal hymnal, and it will also be projected.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working for our to be free. I should read. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new world. Wait, we are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Tell you, we're sounding good. All right, you can have a seat. We got one more thing to do. We can feed our every need, right? We just sang about it. When we let go of the lying lie that we have to do it all on our own, that individualism is the way, when we remember that together we have everything we need, then we are in rhythm. Then we are in rhythm. So every time we gather, we invite each other into the rhythm and the practices that will heal us and heal our hearts, heal our community. One of the things we do is share our financial resources with each other in this practice of giving and receiving and growing. Today's offering is going to go to support the Cummins Ministerial Internship Fund. This is a fund that supports ministerial interns who are learning and growing in our congregation, and we are excited that we are going to have an intern with us starting in August and with us for the full church year. This is exciting work to be a part of, to be shaping ministers for the next generation, and especially to be shaping them in the memory and legacy of Drew and John Cummins. Folks who spent decades shaping and guiding our faith, making it more inclusive, and working to build up the leadership of religious educators and clergy and congregants. It is in their memory that we are offering an internship specifically for Black, Indigenous, or people of color who are entering the ministry. We are doing our part as a congregation to break and push back on some of the barriers that have existed for years and years within our faith tradition for folks who are trying to enter the ministry and lead. So we invite your generosity to this Ministerial Internship Fund, organizing our money in support of this work and preparing our hearts to be a teaching congregation and to be supportive of this intern when they arrive. Now, I remind us, as always, that we are in a rhythm of giving and receiving and growing together. So if this is a time you have resources to share, we invite you to give generously. If this is a time you need to receive, please let us know. We have resources to share. We do this together. Will you please give as generously as you're able? Will the ushers please come forward?
Yes, Franco, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Beloveds, feel the connection between us. Look around. We are a community of communities, and we are doing such good work. Let's continue to do it together. Let's lean into our relationships. Let's say yes when we get invited. Let's go do it. Amen. Let's sing again. Come and go with me.
Didn't that last song just make you want to dance?
Yes.
You're going to get a chance to dance at the end of service, okay? Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Come and dance with me. Come and dance with me in